Hello, dear friends. It's a little bit an experiment this video because I think uh, I really wanted to share some thoughts on the ongoing ongoing topic, and I thought like, am I going to record a podcast? So for a podcast, probably you need someone uh, you know let's say a teammate. So, okay, in that case, my teammate is my cat Richie. Yeah, please love and favor. Well, and then okay, I thought maybe it's a little bit, would be a little bit boring to, to join the flow and speak only exclusively about, let's say, the ongoing drama. So I thought maybe I'll just, discuss a little bit different things. So a lot of things are happening, but okay, let it be sort of like our small chess hideout. So I'm not sure this should be taken as a podcast because okay, somehow I guess all the podcasts they should have some kind of a schedule, uh, you know, and at this point I can't promise obviously. So yeah, let's just start. So how did I get to this idea to record something? It's like as we say in Russia, like everyone ran, so did I. And yeah, basically, I've seen a lot of players, including top players, making like very like chess podcasts. So yeah, frankly, I'm not against this idea, but yeah, I'm not sure if I will have enough time. But okay, so at first, I guess yeah, it's sort of logical, yeah, to speak a little bit about my recent tournament, which was in St. Louis. To be more precise, it was like a sequence of tournaments, like three in a row, and it was quite an experience. I think almost for me it was almost like 4 weeks journey with a lot of games, a lot of emotions. So I'd say, of course, I was looking forward for a classical one because it's like the most. I mean, recently it's the most interesting part for me. Yeah, like of course I like Blitz. I like playing Blitz. It's like intense, exciting, and so on. But yeah, somehow I feel like classical is a little bit more. Okay, I like it more. It's more beautiful. It's not only taking, but it's only giving in some way. Yeah. So, but okay, that's just as for me. So it was first of all it was Rapid and Blitz. Then it was Sinkfield Cup, which was yeah, classical part, and then it was like let's say cherry on the top of the cake. It was Chess 960, yeah, Fisher Random. So let's speak about it like one by one. Well, Rapid and Blitz for me it was sort of like one of the warm up before the classical part, but also I really wanted to play well there. But yeah, I think overall my performance wasn't shiny, anywhere close to this because I think I lost. I wasted quite some chances, and of course, kudos to like Alireza for overall performance in the Rapid and Blitz because yeah, it was like quite impressive, winning whatever like for like five Blitz rounds to go. Yes, so like massive domination, and also of course like some very nice comeback from Hikaru in the Blitz part because yeah, he did quite poorly I think in the Rapid part, but in the Blitz I think he scored quite a while and he just crossed I think 2900s, yeah. So I think as well as Alireza. So okay, this is frankly speaking, this is amazing. I think I can recall I had something like Blitz rating of 20, let's say 2880 or something like this. But it was in 2014, and never since I came close. So I guess if I set such a goal to, okay, let's only try to increase our, let's say, blitz rating, then probably I'll stand a small chance to do this. But yeah, this is impressive. So okay, just once again, my big admiration. So then let's move on to the classical part. Was quite a nice lineup as usual in the Grand Chess Tour, and unfortunately, Richard Rapport couldn't make it to USA because of I don't know, probably some logistic issues. So yeah, there was a replacement, and I mean, so, like saying this right now, yeah. I think I wasn't the only person who was quite unhappy about this particular replacement, this substitute, because yeah, somehow I felt things could go a little bit wrong. So the moment I received like the letter with the news of, okay, like Jeffrey is replacing in the Rapid and Blitz and Hans is replacing in the classical part, I sort of asked organizers for let's say some extra measures to be taken. Yeah, extra things to be done to make the tournament, let's say, more safe and clean in advance. But I think none of this was done until this sad case of their Magnus withdrawal. So as for me, my tournament, a little bit divided. So my classical tournament divided into two parts. I mean, I can't say overall that in St. Louis I played anything like well or surely great. It was like quite out up and down, and I mean, not very close to the level I really want to see myself playing. But that's another story. But speaking, yeah, of these like two parts, of course, it was like before round 3 and after round 3, and all the follow up. So I had a strong feeling that very few players could still play. I think, okay, it was like more professional to stay and continue playing upon like leaving the tournament. So okay, I understand Magnus and his decision, but I think it was quite bad for the tournament indeed, and for the overall atmosphere. But yeah, it's like his life and his decisions. But yeah, you can't take from him it. As it turned out recently, he's quite consistent in what he's doing. So, well, okay. As for me, I think I even said that, okay, I'm like had like five rest days in a row, because yeah, round 4 I didn't really see myself like playing at a full steam, and then let's say, I mean, a lot of these games like up to the game against Shahriar, who also like had a tough tournament, and he just took the early draw with white against me. Yeah, it was like 4 games and one rest day for everyone. So it was more or less like 5 days break, and then in the end, I mean, in a very poor game, I would say, like quality wise, I managed to beat Lev. And in the last round, I could. I mean, if I won the last round, I would even like take the sole first place. But of course, the way I threw it away was more than frustrating. And the following tiebreak also, want to go like to collection of the best games, from my side at least. But yes, it's. Even though it was like very frustrating, then I managed to calm down a little bit. I understood that probably my only good game was against Alireza in round 2, but I should have lost, I think, against Lenier, of course, losing basically in one move, and got completely outplayed. Also, yeah, I was outplayed by Magnus, and was this fighting for the first place was a little bit like, let's say, the coincidence of everything what happened, because in the tournament standings, my unfortunate game against Magnus didn't count. So in a very strange way, I even got some very weird profit from the whole situation. But it's obviously it never made me happy. Yep. And once again, congrats to Alireza for making it. Like, so he played only 8 games, but he also scored like 5 points, and probably his play was also, let's say, far from perfection. But at some point he just got slightly lucky when it was necessary, like beating Wesley out of lost position, and also I think more or less the same was against Shahryar. But you can take from him that arguably he was one of the few guys who was trying to play at a full steam despite what was going on. And probably this also in some way this also was awarded with the overall result. So that's my feeling. And when it was like chess 960 9LX, as they call it in St. Louis. So yeah, it's quite fun, and for me the most interesting, the most like exciting thing was like to analyze the openings before the games, because I mean, of course, it's coming from last year. Then I was making all this. I mean, quite accidentally, I would say everything happened. But when I was making all and recording all this King's Gambit stuff, the course for the chess table, I really enjoyed like the process of I don't know, inventing something new. Yeah, like developing some own theory, and here I had the same. But because of the rules, it was without any computer assistance. So only like we got some, I don't know, like two or three guys like to analyze the position, to think, okay, what's the good move, what's the bad move, what are the general ideas, and it's really, I don't know, it's, for me it was really enjoyable. And the playing 9LX is also fun, but to me, like the part of analyzing was even more pleasant. And I mean, I started like something 4 out of 4, but probably I got too careless, and I mean, obviously it's only my problem, but I think if I would take the following games a little bit more seriously, I could had a better result. But congrats to Fabiano, who I think he won like 5 games in the last day, so it was like 3 out of 3, and then he won 2 games on a tiebreak, like the first game in Armageddon. Well deserved, and it was pleasant to see him like fighting like this and converting all these like small edges. And also Ferrugia, who was close to a hat-trick at some point. Also outstanding achievement. So this is more or less about the tournament, at least my part. So it was a little bit overshadowed by what Magnus did. Like he decided to withdraw from the main event, and obviously he didn't stay for 960 afterwards. But once again the situation is developing, and also I think we will have a chance to speak about it a little bit more further. So probably this this part was not really planned, but once again I thought it's a little bit too much to focus on only one topic. And okay, anyway, let's move on to, let's say, all this drama, suspicions, and so on. And first of all, I'd like to speak a little bit more about the whole cheating situation. So I think in chess, cheating exists for many years. Obviously, it was quite I mean, the whole story, yeah, became far, far before the computer era, because let's say all these like children tournaments, coaches are trying to assist their students, yeah, all these like youth championships, and it was like I think even before all this computer and laptop era came here. So then obviously, yeah, when it moved to online, it was quite a thing online, and I think there was a tournament on the ICC called Dos Hermanas, when everyone played with some poor connections, so like no one could even like think of playing with the webcam or like doing something. And the only way was like to trust people, maybe to check their IP. But I can recall, some games there were like quality-wise, they were like much better than some top games from GM tournaments. And yeah, I can also recall it was like playing team against team. I mean, it was, let's say, 2005, 2006. And yeah, back then it was quite obvious to spot a cheater online, because yeah, normally people just were trying to hit the first line all the time, and yeah, it didn't take too much to compare the moves with the actual like first line of whatever was the engine, like Fritz, Deep Fritz or Deep Junior, or maybe maybe already it was Ripcut back then, but back then also engines there they were not as strong as easily destroying humans as it's happening now. So this is some prehistory, and speaking about cheating OTB, of course, like the cheating OTB is older thing, because yeah, as I mentioned, let's say the most obvious case like youth championships, and back then I think I think even like one of my coaches in childhood like was saying me, okay, if I notice the opponent's coach like giving some signals like you know uh, doing some special things, touching ear, nose, and so on, yeah, which probably could mean anything. I'll take some actions, like don't worry. But in his, as far as I can remember, in his eyes, it was, quite realistic. So speaking about OTB, I think we know like few cases, and the most recent and the most, let's say, famous was Rousey's case, and I mean, I probably shouldn't, but I even feel sorry for Rousey, who was. I mean, I read some of his interviews. I can imagine he wasn't like, perhaps he wasn't very sincere. But yeah, it was more about, I don't know, like acting like a kleptomaniac. So he said he couldn't stop. He understood, okay, he's going to be caught and so on. I mean, but it was like an example of someone cheating like carelessly and being, yeah, I would say even a little bit cheeky. So it's not the first case of catching someone in action who's just going to the toilet and back. I think it was some scandal about some grandmaster from Georgia, if I'm not mistaken. I can't I don't really I can't recall the name and the year, but it was somewhere in some open tournaments in Emirates and so on. So it was also in some official tournaments, not only in opens. I think it was a case in. I mean, of course, they it wasn't. It's like it was. I think it was even an article on the Ruchess webpage, yeah, about the Russian Cup, and with some proofs, and trying to compare the moves of the player with the moves of the Fritz. I think it was 2007 or 2008. So okay, this this story is, it's not the first story, it's not the first drama right now. And also it was obvious controversy about some very very important event which was held, I believe, in 2005. And even now, I think people like arguing like with each other, like what really happened there. So I would say a lot of yeah, a lot of cases for let's say past 20 years at least, a lot of things, and also uh, these are only the known cases. Yes, so probably most of the people we now know which cheated in the OTB chess, they were like a little bit too careless, and they were like caught with most likely with an iPhone in hands, like checking the position in the toilet. Yeah, I think it was on also in some youth championships, some open tournaments. I'm not sure, maybe even some round robins, but okay. I didn't investigate too deeply because I know it was like quite a lot of cases, and also there was a tournament, and I hope it will come back to life. Open tournament, very strong one in Moscow, Aeroflot Open, in which I would say it was an annual controversy about someone playing fair or not so fair, and I think back then they started to pause the transmission, pause the game broadcast, and in some cases it was like quite effective, but it was a little bit obvious, but they didn't know how to catch someone who's doing this, because as far as I can imagine, yeah, there are like three ways. So first of all, is like the most weird way, like going after every move to the restroom, locking in the cabin and checking it with your like smartphone, or I don't know, receiving some messages. So the second one is let's say very sophisticated, yeah, like having I don't know, probably some tiny earpiece, tiny earphone. And the third one is also, I mean, it's really hard to prove, but it involves a lot of people, like having an actual like a third person, yeah, third person who is going here and there, going into the tournament hall, and gives you some direct advices, and also remains a part of the audience. And yeah, that also looks quite suspicious, and this is forbidden by the rules. But I think on the most open tournaments, which is quite unfortunate, I think this is no one really cares about this is happening, despite it's like on a paper it's strictly forbidden. So I think they ever managed to catch someone with a device, would it be? I think it was the case about some Bulgarian FIDE master like Borislav Ivanov. I can be wrong, but yeah, it was someone with a lot of different wires under his clothing. It was also, I think, the case in the Olympiad. It was in Khanty-Mansiysk, and that case, yeah, probably it was an example of the third person assistance. So yeah, very well known, I think. And yeah, this is also, we have like a lot of guys who were like running to the restrooms and running back to the board. And I think out of my own experience, I even played with some of these strong players in the Aeroflot once. I can be like 100% sure, but I had a strong feeling something is really wrong. And yeah, like he outplayed me completely, and then he gifted me a draw. Though I was like very thankful, but then I checked the game. Yeah, it was okay. Obviously, I had all the reasons to blame myself for playing not the best moves, but yeah, his moves were like fascinating. And yeah, basically, here comes the question: how do we even fight with with cheaters? So at some major FIDE events, they have a lot of detectors of all sorts of signals. At least they state it, like Bluetooth. I don't know. Some different radio frequencies, of course, all sorts of metal detectors. So probably this helps, but I guess if you investigate a little bit deeper, always, yeah, crime is always like one step ahead. So probably there are some ways to deceive. I mean, to tweak all this all these things. Yeah, just to make sure you're not going to be, that obvious, that careless. Unfortunately, I think we can't be like 100% per person sure it works every time. So this is one thing, and another thing, which is, I would say, quite simple and doesn't require any extraction, is the delay of broadcasts. I think it was more or less common a few years ago. Okay, a few years ago, I don't know, like about a few years ago, but 10 years ago, I think a lot of tournaments they had this extra rule, yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, right now, after this like beautiful case in the St. Louis and all this controversy, I have a feeling that, okay, for example, Women Grand Prix in Kazakhstan also has this 15 minutes delay. So I'm not sure what is what is the correct amount of the delay. I mean, if you want to be like 100% sure, I think it should be like 30 minutes or more. So technically, I think 15 minutes leaves you an opportunity to think for quite some time, like 2 or 3 times for a game, and calculate everything and so on. But obviously, yeah, it's very disturbing for someone who wants to play unfair, even like 15 minutes. And obviously, this kills the opportunity to receive some help outside. I mean, unless there is a way to to have some different way of, I mean, to contact, let's say, your assistant, yeah, in a different way. But I mean, I never really investigated this until the uh, very very late like times. So I only did it quite lately, and I think it was sort of a video recorded by Dubov and Grandmaster Tkachov, which maybe it's even possible to find it on YouTube. I'm not sure. Which was like explaining so how do you do this, and you are not even going to be under like the smallest suspicion. So if you guys find it, then okay, then it's like wonderful, and probably just don't take this as an instruction for what you have to do to be good at chess. Hopefully you won't. So obviously it's a big problem, and during the pandemic, I think, of course, no one cared too much about their, OTB tournaments, because, like, basically there were no OTB tournaments. Even though I think it was some scandal in India, unrevealing some not very sophisticated guy who had rating like 2000s, and I can't recall if it was like before the pandemic or or during it. Yeah, but he was like 2000s elo 2000s, yeah, and he was crushing like everyone, so it didn't last long for him. But yeah, this is like also some sort of little bit careless cheaters, yeah. So obviously I also played a lot of times online about guys who cheated, and once I can even recall it was in the Tuesday tournament on Chess.com, and it was someone. I think I had back then like 4 out of 7 or 4 out of 6, and the guy had like 4.5. So he was not like fighting anywhere close for any prizes, I think, already, because back then like losing like I mean making free draws, for example, yeah, would surely kick you out of any prizes. But still, yeah, like being like some FIDE master with 2400s, he just crushed me using the first line. Okay, why not? I had only to take this with some gratitude. But yeah, this I would say online is quite a common thing, and that's probably somehow you prefer to play with talented players online, because if there is like someone, let's say, very high rated and without a GM or IM title nearby, it's like unlikely it's some I don't know, some smurf of the very strong GM. But what is like more likely is someone who's who's not a GM, but even stronger. Yeah. Anyway, and there is obvious way to fight with cheating is all these algorithms which are checking the games, checking timings, comparing to the first lines, and this is, I think, could be quite effective when we speak about someone lower rated who is suddenly pretends to be playing like a top GM or just a GM. Yeah, so imagine like 2200 guys coming to some open tournament and making it like five out of six and five, I don't know, or maybe even more, and okay, everyone gets like very cautious and very sus towards him, and yeah, in most cases they like try to catch him in action, and yeah, I think that's how they got this Bulgarian FIDE master Ivanov, who was stating like, okay, all right, I'm really into the thing. Yeah, I like chess so much. I work 10 hours a day. I beat Stockfish at home, and so on. So these algorithms, algorithms are good to detect maybe someone who is playing online blitz and not blundering like for, let's say, 20 games in a row or even more. And the problem is that I'm not sure it's good when we speak about let's say some high level GM. I mean, especially when we speak about some 2600s plus, and especially when we speak about a young player, because in the famous case of Rousis, I mean, all right, he was, I think, well above 50 years, and he suddenly started to making some massive rating gains, starting with 2500s to almost like 2700s. Probably not the exact age when you improve at chess that much, yeah. So even from this part, it was more like very, very suspicious, and actually, I'm not even sure he was like making a lot of money with this. Yeah, I don't even know why did he do this. Yeah, maybe, I don't know, maybe some disorder, maybe, okay, whatever. But yeah, I think he used to play some small leagues like Austrian League and so on. But yeah, anyway, yeah, it's quite a bad thing to do. Whatever reason you have. And yeah, so when we speak about some young player whose rating is rising rapidly, and this is probably supposed to be so, it's very hard to make the same conclusions like every time, and that's a big problem, because this is probably the very, very easy alibi if you're not if you're not going to catch someone in action, then this person would just state that, okay, he's such a hard worker and so on, or he's lucky, or he's having a good day, or he's enjoying some some best experience, best chess experience in his life, and that's why he plays so well. And yeah, let's slowly move to the ongoing drama. Let's move to Hans Niemann. So obviously, I until the pandemic, I had like no idea this is like about who is this guy and so on. And I think I've played quite a lot of games against him on the chess.com, and some of the games were more weird than others, but yeah, he had like 2800s, 2900s. He was streaming all the time, so well, it was nothing too suspicious. So whenever you play online, you always have you should always be not too surprised when someone crushes you, in a brilliant manner, yeah, out of the blue, let's say. But this is okay. Normally, okay. These people, they get banned, and your rating, if someone cares about online rating, yeah, your rating, at least on the chess.com, I think on Lachesis it's the same. Your rating comes back to you, yeah. So the justice, yeah, the justice prevails. Yeah, but on a serious note, when it was like okay, all these restrictions were slightly released. I think a lot of players came back to the OTB, and obviously a lot of young players like started they rapid you know rocket like rise of results of the ratings, and that's quite this was quite expected. And yeah, Hans was probably is one of these players. Yeah, so but I mean, okay, it's like it's a little bit the same, but it's, at the same time it's a little bit different because unlike most of the players, he I think he didn't prove to be like, let's say, the youngest GM, or he didn't come up with some incredible results which are far ahead of his current rating. Yeah, so he was sort of grinding, and I think when he was like 16, or I don't know, I'm not sure, like almost 17, he had like slightly less than 2500s, which is not, I wouldn't say it's quite a lot. Yeah, so this probably indicates there is some, surely there is some chess talent, but you can't really evaluate. So there are like very very different situations, of course, and okay, someone, let's say, is taking his you know education very seriously and only starts working on chess, a little bit too late. Yeah, like what probably what Hans is stating about his career. So this is quite hard to judge. So this is all sorts of circumstantial stuff, and this cannot be really taken as an evidence. But there comes like another problem what we can take. So I'd like to share like some thoughts about Hans, about what I find weird and something not that common, to say so. So first of all, yeah, the level of his play is rising very slowly, and his rating is rising. I mean, maybe slowly is the wrong word. I mean, it's very I don't know. I know how to explain. I mean, it's very consistent. First of all, yeah. And if you check his tournaments, because yeah, maybe it's me like having trust issues after playing someone banned from Chesscom, or someone you would, let's say, strongly suspect when you play online. Maybe it's just my trust issues, but yeah, I think it's more or less like only young player, yeah, who about whom I was like slightly unsure about like his recent progress, and I can't say I have a lot of reasons apart of my my feelings, let's say my intuition, my experience, but what was what seemed weird to me. I'd imagine some young player participating, let's say, in 3 tournaments in a row, and as it seems to me, it's more. I mean, let's say he earns like 30 elo points after playing brilliantly, but it would be almost never. It will be like +10, +10, and +10 in all these 3 tournaments. Yeah, it wouldn't be necessarily like -5, -5, and +40. But I would surely think that if we try to to paint some sort of a graphic of the progress, it would be more or less up and down. And somehow I can't say I investigated all the tournaments, but it seemed to me that we win this huge crusade of Hans, like living in a suitcase and playing all these tournaments like one by one without any break. He basically came with some small elo earnings after, I would say, 90% of these events. That's my impression. Maybe I'm wrong, but especially let's say the last year I checked it a lot because okay, he started playing in some round robin tournaments, and also it was like quite funny that he sort of was announcing his next goals. Yeah, like okay, like now hit 2600s, now I hit the GM norm. Okay, 2700s comes less than a year, and yeah, it's obviously obviously something which draws some extra attention. So I also was one of those amazed viewers, yeah. And yeah, so this was like something which really surprised me, because well, I'm not at all myself. I also was like a young player, and I mean, obviously it shouldn't apply to everybody. Everybody has his own unique story, but I would expect someone to have some big plateau, or not a big plateau. Let's say like let's say at least like few months, like half a year in the rating, as well. Yeah, which probably describes that you need still to work a little bit harder to to get some experience, to gain some extra confidence, to jump to the next step and get to the next level. And after this, you start quickly gaining some rating. So this at least happened to me for many times. I think this happened to a lot of young players if you check their progress and their rating graph, and some tournaments. But maybe the situation is a little bit different. But this is like my thoughts. So this is obviously something which for me indicates this is like a unique case. Yeah, it's pretty much uncommon. And the consistency is really something. Yeah. Which also I would say comes along with how to say with all these announcements of the upcoming progress. Also, that's quite obvious. Then a person has a negative credit and a negative record of playing online. I mean, negative in terms of confirmed cheating and and banned for cheating. This also is not helpful. And particularly what I didn't like in, for example, his interview, that he said, all right, it was done. Okay, I admit it was like I was banned like when I was like 12 years old, or when I was like 16 years old. But he also said like it was only to gain some rating to play against stronger opposition. And this is, I guess, a very common thing and very common explanation, which, I mean, yeah, I don't know how would it sound, but something like, okay, I'm doing some bad things, but it's like for the greater good indeed, yeah. So this is, I mean, hard to credit to put this to his credit, but yeah, this is not the most the most recent thing I have heard about. The reasoning. Then yeah, also I think there is a video master from Ukraine, Andrei Punin, who has a channel on YouTube, and he sort of trying to highlight some cheating cases, and he also came up with some videos with some footages of Hans playing in his, I think, GM tournament, or also in Capablanca tournaments. One was like GM norm was like a few years ago, I believe, and yeah, I would say okay, some of the games are really good, and there is some. I'm not sure if it's like, if we can call it like cherry picking as they call it right now, or it's some objective point of view from him. But yeah, normally he speaks about online chess, but okay, speaking about offline chess is a little bit different story. But yeah, some games are statistically very impressive, and in fact, they maybe not even be like so bright. Anyway, yeah, this like draws some attention, and I unfortunately I watched some of these videos even during the tournament in St. Louis, and probably this also a little bit affected. So this is not quite helpful for the overall picture. from whatever side you are. Like, do you support or do you say, okay, these suspicions, or you also try to neglect them? Yeah, and call other people like paranoid. So yeah, that's some of the things which were previously, which drew my attention, and obviously, yeah. So one, maybe first and most important is the online cheating, which is probably was proved. And by the way, in his interview, he said that okay, I was only banned twice, but the follow up was quite. Quite unexpected. That Chess.com published some statement that probably it was not only like twice, and it was like more serious. Okay, I'm really waiting for some updates on this part, but I mean, as for me, is yeah, mm, quite an unpleasant stuff that probably in the interview, if someone is trying to be quite candid and transparent, like Hans obviously tried to seem in his interview after, I guess, game against Daniel Dominguez. I guess this is mm, some really bad news. Yeah, if you are getting caught on an direct lie, or like saying like the half of the truth, which is also not so great. So for me, like I don't know. I mean, probably, maybe I'm a little bit too cautious, and maybe I'm taking a little bit a little bit wrong position from the very beginning, because I had some. I think I had some weird games online in some in some blitz against Hans, which is, I mean, I can't. Obviously, it's like only my fault, but some of the games, like, they felt, really weird. So that's how I came into this. Being state of being, let's say, more or less aware of what's going on. And yeah, also, okay, all these tournaments, I have a feeling that yeah, there is, statistically, this is sort of an anomaly that someone always gains a little bit of rating, and even, yeah, like probably, this slight overperforming every time is something which you cannot commonly see in some young players' careers. So normally they like overperform like badly, like crushing the field, like be playing, like showing some great chess, obviously, yeah, and earning like a lot, loads of rating, or they like perform, quite in an average manner, and they're not like that, that bright. So there's all that, and I can hardly. I mean, okay, the good example is, let's say, all these youngsters like playing in the Olympiad. So like, I think, was it Gukesh who earned like 30 elo points there, or something like this. Yeah, okay, he's scoring some astounding +7 or +8 result. I mean, yeah, completely fascinating, and this is what you normally expect. Yeah, okay, this is all we know. For example, Kramnik in Manila, I think Manila Olympiad in 1992, he scored like something like 7.5 out of 8 on his board as a substitute player. Yeah, and obviously, yeah, he already was a strong GM back then, but yeah, it was one of the most like amazing achievements ever on these Olympiads, and so on. Yeah, and also same goes, like all these, like, we can also like admire like Arjun Erigaisi for his recent performance, and also like Nodirbek Abdusatarov, yeah, uh, who also like is doing quite well. Yeah, but once again, I mean, being very stable player is not something you would expect from some young and quickly rising GM. So this is my impression, and moving slightly to the St. Louis tournament, which probably, you know uh, quite unfortunately, caused all this drama. and all this I don't know, noise in the media, which is probably in some ways a good PR for chess, but I don't think it's entirely good. What can I say about this tournament, and what can I say about chess in general? That as for me, I don't really believe in some major transformations. Yeah, I don't believe in metamorphosis. Uh, so speaking once again, speaking of Hans, yeah, obviously the games he played there are not uh, like ideal. Yeah, it's not like uh, something like absolutely computerish. Not at all. Completely not. And I mean, statistically, you can say, okay, their games are like clean and good, but these games are still, yeah, like, I mean, you can I mean, if you analyze with an engine, you could find some improvements. Yeah, so it's not like impeccable play. But getting back to metamorphosis, as far as I understand, Hans was supposed to play in Turkish league, and he played there in the end. But before he got a wild card into this Miami tournament, and he scored like not that great there, like losing all his matches. Though he won some games, but overall I think this performance was far from something really bright. And I think he scored like, okay, not that much. And then immediately he moved to Turkey to play in the Turkish league, and also I think his performance was, I mean, very very much up and down. So I'm not sure if he scored like in a plus score. Probably yes, but I'm not sure what it was. What was it about rating? And let's say immediately after the tournament, he goes back to US, and I mean, as for me, from my like small experience, these jet lags and reverse jet lags, they are killing you, and you can't perform like even relatively well uh, if you are affected. But yeah, in his case, probably he's much younger. Yeah. But it was a different person. Yeah, it was a different player. I mean, okay, I checked some of the games in Turkey. It was like different story. Of course, like one can say, I mean, also addressed to having a good day, like in preparation and something, and so on. But as for me, it's weird. It's weird. So having like two, not the most brilliant performances in a row, and then coming and you know skewering some of the top players, in this way, and playing overall, I would say quite clean and quite a clean and strong manner, and being successful in all the openings. Yeah, it's really quite an achievement. But once again, the metamorphosis I have seen there also is also like quite weird. Yeah, so probably that's it. And I mean, also, okay, all this behavior on the interviews, and like saying, okay, these guys are supposed to be the top players. Why are they playing that poorly? And I mean, okay, a lot of people speculated on the analysis. I can't find it. I mean, if in the smallest way, in the smallest in the smallest possible way, we can say this is okay. This is sort of an evidence. Okay, it's very circumstantial. It's I mean, maybe if we combine all the factors all together, yeah, then yes, then we can make some good, draw some conclusions and so on. Some make some statements. By the way, okay, I'm still waiting. I think a lot of you guys. Some statements from, let's say, FIDE or I don't know, chess.com. So probably this would help a little, yeah, with all the controversy. Because what's going on is quite unfortunate for everybody, yeah, for chess, of course, first of all, for Hans, obviously, yeah, because if uh, he's just if he's clean, and if he's accused like this, of course, it's very bad, yeah, for I don't know, for his career, first of all. And obviously, I won't wish this to I wouldn't wish this to anyone. Yeah. So that's quite important. Yeah, to see some official things, and also I think lately Magnus said that he's ready to come up with something more, let's say, official. So also, of course, can't wait. Anything of this will be published. Uh, yeah. So once again, overall, this is. I mean, even if we say about the St. Louis tournament, yes, it was like before the delay and after the delay, yeah. And after the delay, it was more or less another person playing, which is obviously we can take it in two different ways. So first way is we finally we interrupted the receiving of good moves. But also there is quite a fair point that it's very hard to play under such a pressure. Like all eyes are like or on you, like people are accusing you directly or indirectly, and this is like a very tough condition to play in. So once again, all this this is however the big problem, yeah, that the only way we can be sure someone is cheating is we actually catch this person in action. And I think in St. Louis we came not very close to this. I mean, a lot of things are weird. Okay, in some way, first game insights are weird. Dropping of the level is weird. I mean, if you want to see weird things, you will see it. Yeah, that's my point. At the same time, if you don't want to see anything weird, if you like, if you don't have trust issues like me, if you trust people in general, and if you see like, okay, like Levon said, like most of my colleagues are paranoid, and yeah, that's partially true. So I really think, yeah, I should like round up the topic, and I can't come with any conclusions. So some things are really strange, and out of my experience, I never seen this before, but maybe it's because of my poor knowledge, my poor experience, and I can't judge. I can't come up with some verdicts. But if you ask me right now, what do I think? I would say probably it reminds me of the guy who is going to the gym. He really likes it, but he really wants to speed up his progress in some way. Yeah, and like that's why he's taking, I don't know, some steroids or whatever. But he wants the result here and now, and he's not going to wait. He doesn't want to wait any longer. So Hans is obviously talented. This you can see from his like blitz skills, and I mean blitz and rapid, and he is capable of beating some strong players for sure. And I tend to trust him. He works so much at chess, and he's constantly improving and so on. But still. Maybe the unfortunate part is that the truth is somewhere between, and I'm really, yeah, I'm really, anxious about this because once again, getting back to some trust issues, this probably would indicate that it's quite simple, yeah, like to trick the whole world and to speed up your progress with some very well dosed some mild unfair actions. But anyway, when it serves the greater good, you progress so much, and you play so. I mean, in the end, you have a good goal, yeah, to become a good chess player. And this is, yeah, if this would be an example for our, let's say, for not necessarily young, but for to example to how to be kept for other players, it would be a little bit controversial thing. So once again, as I said in some of my interviews, I really hope that I mean, okay, forgive me my poor English. I think I little bit I said little bit wrong sequence of words. I really hope that it turns out that Hans is innocent, and probably some people's paranoia, perhaps including me, is only paranoia. But for now, I'm like, I can't be sure, and once again, if you ask me, I mean, I can't come with a verdict, but yet so far my concerns still still realistic, as it seems. But once again, it will be really, really unfortunate and poor if because of all this paranoia we we damage the career and the life of innocent person. All right, so this was the part of the dramatic part. Just to add like a couple more words. As we saw, like Magnus didn't want to play even in the online tournament, so I think it was like, let's say, some continuation of his statement. And I mean, I like the consistency, but I don't like the way it goes. But I mean, once again, the most important thing is to know the truth in our case. And I really hope that justice will prevail. So I think that's more or less it. So probably in the next few days there will be some update. Let's move on to small conclusion. Okay, probably I should say a word or two about my nearest chess plans. I think in very soon, like maybe in a couple of days from the moment this is being recorded, I'll play some global chess championship match against Peter Swidler, who good friend of mine, and hopefully one of us would would make it to the finals in Toronto. So I wish him best of luck, obviously. And I think that's more or less it. And already being a little bit longer than I wanted, so it's already like more than 1 hour. A little bit too much. Maybe if it would be like really, I don't know, if it would be a good idea, I would also try to record some of this in Russian. But okay, I think my my poor English is quite understandable, at least I hope so. So about returning to the topic, is this actually a podcast? I'm not quite sure. Maybe if there will be like some inspiration, I'll come up with some next episodes. But for now, it's more or less like a video, which is the main goal of which was to contribute to the ongoing. I don't like the word drama, but yes, drama in the chess world. So once again, I'm really looking forward to some updates from the officials, and to see also some statement from Magnus, obviously one here, and maybe some statement from Hans. I'm not sure, because speaking about his interview, it was like very emotional, and but in my opinion, it was more or less. I had a feeling that for this interview he prepared a way better opponent for the game against Lanier, which is obviously understandable. You can't rely on your improvisation when you come up with such an important speech. But anyway, I think it was something like really well prepared. And okay, basically that's more or less it. And now, like after 1 hour of speaking without any major breaks, I really understand why would you need a partner in crime for the broadcast. For the podcast, by the way, as well. So thank you guys for joining. Thank you for watching. And yeah, perhaps see you around. Best of luck and take care.